education is the key to success. But being educated can't be stopped with a certificate. We have to go beyond it. But still, it is worth to have. Dr. Chamal Sanjeev is with me. Let's go ahead with this. It's someone with a degree. That man is educated. Can we say that?
There's an argument between going on whether can we measure can we indicate the development by just giving certificate, because the people who have changed the world, people who have given a new investment or inventory to the world, new invention to the world, really they don't have the certificate or the qualified way. But the important thing is the way that how he think about the world. That means how he think to change the world. If the person is having so much qualifications, but that man does not want to change or giving new thing to the world, most of the time it will not valued for the development of the country, because we are talking and we are in a high time to talk about the development of the country. And with cooperation and collaboration with the education system, and but unfortunately in Sri Lankan scenario we are targeting mainly the getting the certificate. That's the main reason. Getting the certificate is good, but the whole idea just to get the certificate, get from the school or university, so that does not contribute anything to the development of the country. Because as a country, now we are still in the developing countries. We were born in the developing countries. We have been living in the developing countries, and in the future we will have to leave this country the same label in the Sri Lanka is a developing country in the third world. But we have to change this one. But unfortunately, for last 70 years period, the majority of who have ruled this country, usually they did not think about the importance of the education, science and technology to the society. Still we are, for whatever the political scenario, political agendas, for the election campaign, I have hardly ever seen this address this matter. Most of the developed countries from the Asia to the European scenario, the education, science and technology is the most important part of that country. That they are for the nuclear power, maybe the solar power system, maybe the new inventions, engineer system. So if the country want to get developed in the present scenario, they should have a good science and technological forum, science and technology policy. But as far as I know, even the science and technology ministry, maybe the department is not that much valuable in Sri Lanka. So we should address this matter, because we are getting so many new investment at the moment, but we allocate not money for the science and technological development. So the education, science and technology should be collaborate, and it should target their vision and mission should target in the development of the country, not to just produce the graduates and then they will come to the Lipton and ask for the giving the jobs for us. So get the education certificate. It's a permission that give they are allowing to get some salary paid job, but that does not happen. Given the education, the person's mind should be creative, intelligent. It's a vision, mission to involve in actively participate for the country.
Okay, doctor, is education can help to make a good political person?
Yes. Now this is the main discussion at the moment. Are we having educated people? Are we having the educated academic people, the professionals who is having the political literacy in our policy level scenario? As I mentioned, mainly they are thinking how much of people in the parliamentary or the provincial council or the local bodies having a good education qualification. So this we can see. But unfortunately, in Sri Lankan scenario, when the system is going on the past 70 years period, the majority of the main parties and also the main leaders of the country, they just want some people to collect the votes, to apply posters in the when the time of the campaign, just to say sir or just to say yes to their agendas.
Only making the power.
Only making the power. Now, even for the professionals used by the politicals or the political aspect, just to make the power. So we have to change this manner. The professionals should stand several steps away from the politician. They should guide the politician to where to go. But unfortunately, the persons or the professionals who are involved in coming to the politics also, ultimately they also dissolve with this current scenario. So this is a very bad and very unfortunate event happening in Sri Lanka. People should try to involve the active politics. That politics does not mean even the party politics, but they can give their suggestion. And at the same time, the parties or the rulers or those who are administrative should allow people to give their suggestions. We can see the outcome and impact of those suggestions. Otherwise, what is happening is that one or two person will get decisions just for their personal benefit, not for the country. So this will ultimately end up a very dark era in the near future.
Doctor, currently you live in Australia. Can you compare with, I mean, we can't compare with Australia and Sri Lanka, but we are going to talking about parliament and political people, and they have power, and what kind of education they have in Australia and in Sri Lanka.
When you consider the developed countries from Asia to the European countries, majority of the politicians in those countries have a qualified academic background. That means whatever the field they are involved in, they are having that academic background. Maybe the national and international research fellows are there. The recent example is from the Singapore, Malaysia. Majority of the cabinet ministers having 1 or 2 master degrees on their field. So to become a cabinet minister in Singapore or Malaysia, they should have that facility. Otherwise, usually they can't get the cabinet ministers. So this is the decision taken by their leaders. If the real leader want to change the country, so he should take this type of decisions. But if we are not getting this type of decisions and we are blaming to politicians, the other aspect, if the leaders are blaming to the politicians and they are thinking only about their manner, they are developing their personality, so ultimately this will not affect for the country. The real leader want to change this country in the near future, he should try to get this type of accents, this type of dramatic opinions, because we are now at the 2020-2030 period. As I mentioned earlier, this is the last time that we are getting to change this country, because unless otherwise we can't get a good development in the country. And when the people with having academic background, having the political literacy, when they are not having enough space to involve in the development of the country, ultimately they are unhappy about the political, socio-economic situation, even for their kids, and then they might migrate. So this is happening in Sri Lanka now, highly from the...
Most of people leaving Sri Lanka.
Yeah, most of people leaving from the medicine, engineering, accountancy. Now even
and somehow every people in current situation, doctor, because you live in Australia and you can see that also, every people getting at least one try to got a job from another country, whatever, from anywhere. So very bad situation.
Yeah, now the people from the Sri Lanka, they start to migrate the country. Because the initial stage for the around 80s, 90s, we can see the politicians say because of the war situation, civil unrest, so many things, the people migrate the country. But we have stopped the war in 2009. I mean, since then we have passed 9 years period. So now after what we have done during that 9 years period to retain those or reduce the brain drain. So this is highly, we should address this issue, because the most of the majority of the cream of the country living for the other countries. But I have experience discussing this matter with the people who live in abroad, in Australia or UK or Japan. But they like to come to Sri Lanka. They love Sri Lanka. They want to come and serve to the Sri Lanka. But the problem is that the respect they are getting, the opportunity they are getting, and even for there's the state sector, there's a lot of conspiracy going there. Sometimes even the academic people, they can't get the good the selected or the good opportunity for them, because the underqualified people are in the top level and qualified people in the bottom level. So, what will happen is that this will discourage people to retain in the Sri Lanka. At the same time, sometimes the higher level people, some high authority people, they directly and indirectly said, don't come to Sri Lanka, you stay there, because when the educated people, qualified people come to Sri Lanka, it's a challenge for the unqualified seniors in the country. So they like the qualified people, if they are not coming to Sri Lanka, they like it. So this should change. So even the recent example are from the Indian. What Indian are doing is that they have a lot of, that in the population, majority of population, they can't enough education facility in the India. So they allow young generation to go abroad, expose the foreign experience, get the foreign experience, work with the UK, USA, Australia, Japan people, and then after some time they invite those young generation to please come back, serve to the mother India. So this is why they always generate this idea, go, get experience, but please come back, because mother India is our motherland, so we have to develop the country. So in every Indians have this attitude inside deep in their heart. So always they think, always they talk very loudly about their India. Even the India is in the poverty index is very much high, in a poor situation, rather worse than Sri Lanka. They are cream of the Indian. They always try to develop their country. So they are in high level in the astrology, science, technology, nuclear power. That's because 80% of the people are poor in India, 20% people are control the India, but this 20% is a highly creamed. They raised the name India above all the countries at the moment.
Okay. We must need to talk about the health education in Sri Lanka. You have a lot of experience in that field, because your field, you are as a doctor, you got a lot of experience as a medical officer. So,
for the development of the country, as we mentioned, the education should be there, then the financial aspect, again the health aspect. So healthcare should be in the high level position to get the people's welfare. Fortunately, Sri Lanka's economic development is good because of this, the healthcare aspect. We have a that we are serving to the doorstep of the people. The public health service is very much happy, and they are maintaining extremely very good service to the country. And we are actually we are in the upper level when even compared to the developed countries. The percentage of money we are expenses for the health, we are getting the maximum benefit for the health sector. But at the same time now, because of the modernization, the people used to have the change of their lifestyle pattern. At the same time, the food habit and the other things, that they are living with the highly mentally stressed environment. So all these things, we should address those things. The lifetime changes, and the majority of time the people are working on the government sector, private sector, they lack on the seats for the whole days. So because of this one, we are having a real problem now with the increase in the non-communicable disease in the country. So we have to allocate more money for the non-communicable diseases. But the health education wise, we should address this matter. We should educate the people from family level how to reduce this burning issue of the non-communicable diseases. Because now there's a transition going on from the that means the transition period of in Sri Lankan population is growing there, and people involved in affecting for the non-communicable diseases much more. And as a result, if the young generation affected the diabetic, hypertension, hypercholesteremia, then ischemic heart disease or the brain trauma like that, what will happen? The productivity of the country. At the same time, the number of road traffic accidents happening in the country is rising. So if the road traffic accident happen, there's a direct damage to the people, they killed at the road. At the same time, disability happen, so productivity goes down. So when we are going for the development manner, we should hand in hand with the economic one, healthcare sector, education, science and technology all should be there. So we can't forget one each and telling our whatever the plan for the future.
Yeah, with all this question and very bad situation, we have to face the 2020
Yeah.
election too. What we have to do for that?
Yeah, that's a very crucial aspect that people thinking about this 2020 always. Now we can see a lot of programs, agendas about the 2020, but our target should be to develop the country as much as possible for our own, not depending on the other countries. Because if we are still try to plan our plans depending on the other countries, so we can't get rid of from this financial burden, and we have to work according to them. So the professionals should involve to change this country as other countries, and the leaders, so the party leaders, maybe the political aspect, maybe who with the constitution manner, they should allow the academic people to enter and involve in these discussions in the political way. This political does not mean the party politics, because they should have open forums to discuss this manner.
Yeah.
The European countries, UK, Australia, Japan, whatever it is, the university system, they open forum to discuss their socio-economic problems. So there are a lot of suggestions coming from them. Unfortunately, what is happening here is that the academic also involving for this directly or indirectly way for the politics, they have personal agenda to get the high commission post or commission post, maybe the advisory post, like that. So this should not be there. The real academic people or the professionals having a good political literacy should try to change the attitude of the people. They should come forward, address the people. So rather than stay in universities or the background, they are staying backward now, because they are very much worried about, they said that they are bound by the rules and regulations, they are not allowed to come. Even they want to come, the other people does not open doors to come and talk this much of open way. So the only one or two selected people will come and try to rule the country, but unfortunately the real spirit we can't see. It's like iceberg phenomena. We can see just the tip of the iceberg only,
Yeah.
but the crisis in the we can't see, it's under the water. So this should address in the 2020. But if we did not get experience from the past and learn and plan for the 2020, just to giving the show up for the audience, if you are giving whatever just to giving to entertain the audience, does not lead the country to the development of the way. Because if you can't turn the switch on, if you can't open the door at this 2020 period, I think we are in a very sad situation, and I don't know whether we can serve this country in the future, the things happening way. So we should try to improve education, health sector, financial sector, get the maximum benefit from our resources, as we mentioned earlier, because we have a lot of resources. The important things, the persons who in controlling the country, ruling the country, should have this broad picture.
Yeah.
If they just think to maintain their 5 years period and think about the next election, no, that does not matter. So we should get international experience, how the other countries change over the past 50 years period, how their rulers rule the country by past 50 years period. There's a lot of experience we can learn. If we don't get experience from those countries, and if we are solely running with the personal agendas, I think we can't see a good future.
Finally, have to say this: make a way to have a genuine education. By that, you can change your life, and you will change the country.
Summerfield's Banquets, located near the city of Kottava, is renowned for its 14 years of excellence in catering, noble hospitality and scrumptious food. Summerfields provides modern banquets with amazing ambience, allowing comfortable accommodation for more than 350 guests, providing the perfect setting for all kinds of occasions, events and celebrations. Summerfields Banquets, Piliyandala Road, Kottava. Call us on 0112 172 947.